Today I'm going to talk about Waking Life, which is a Richard Linklater film from the early 2000s, which was essentially a follow-up to Slacker. So it's like one of those Linklater has two careers. He has a commercial career where he does films like School of Rock, and does films like Bad News Bear remake that are fairly commercial and are aspiring to duplicate an audience. But he also makes films that are much lower audience expectations, like Slacker, like this, like Tape. Certain films that just by the subject matter, they're not going to get a massive audience. I mean, some films get in between that with the Before series, where before sunrise, before sunset, and before midnight, which have the love story element that makes them more easier for the general audience, but they still have a kind of Linklater thing of people talking and lots of digressions, and it's about the characters more than the story. Well, in the more mainstream films, it has been more story with good characters. But the Before series kind of gets in the middle there, where you manage to have both. But something like Waking Life doesn't even care about having a story. It's about a dream. Now, if you've seen Slacker, it's about people wandering about and talking, and it's about a community of people, of eccentric people who have different philosophies in life and who are not dedicated to careers. They're dedicated to having an interest in life rather than careers. So they're viewed as eccentric and probably losers by some folk. But they're just doing their own thing. And this film continues with that idea, but this time they use animation, where Linklater shot all the footage and then edited together, and then he did a team of animators animate it. So there's an animator who had a lot of experience doing this kind of thing, and he was like the guy in charge of the animation. So the animation doesn't have the same style all the time. It varies depending on what the scene is. But the whole idea is Willie Wiggins, who was in Dazed and Confused, the protagonist, which is another Linklater film that was mainstream but also very Linklater, he's going back home to Austin, and he realizes he's dreaming as he's talking to people, and he realizing that this is not reality, and everyone's dreaming. The dream's it starts out kind of realistic, but within a dream landscape where he's talking to people. But then as he goes on, he starts to realize he is dreaming. He can't wake up, and he's like, is this his last thoughts before he dies, or is this just a dream that he's just repeating and just going on, or is it just his own thoughts come through a dream through the face of other people? So what is it really? So you can see the style of animation here. This is the Arrow version of the film, which I think is now out of print, but you got a nice booklet, and you can see various in this booklet. You can see the kind of style of it, and what you get is a film about both dreaming and how do we process ideas even when we're awake. We have lots of thoughts, but do they actually become anything? So it is a follow-up to Slacker, but it's not just Slacker again. It's the same style of Slacker, people talking, obsession, but this one's much more like the philosophical side of life. Does what we do mean anything? Do what we read and deliver upon it ourselves, this is a idea that's important to us, does that mean anything to the outside world, or does it just mean something to us? Does it create any action within you to actually do something with it, or does it just make you feel isolated? So even though he's doing a dream logic thing, that's just the foundation of, are we all in a dream of our own making, where we have lots of self-importance, lots of ideas, but it doesn't impact the real world at all as we see it. The world goes on, there's billions of people in the world, and no one impacts it fully. You've got leaders who think they impact it, but life always gets in their way as well. But for most of us, we live a life of, existing. We have a group of friends. We have experiences. We have sometimes are deep, sometimes are shallow. We meet people. We connect. We disconnect, and we can talk about ideas, but we're not quite sure we're right or wrong. But we're not quite sure where we're going with it. But it's everything's just kind of floating through this film, and it says we're floating through life. And when we get to the end of it, it's like, well, did any of this make sense? Even for all the philosophy you've read, all the different ideas you've had, does it make sense? Has it impacted you at all? And what's viewed as the real world? And do you care? Ultimately. Because this is set in an area where people are much more interested in learning something for the joy of learning, rather than, I need to know this because this will make me money or this will do something for me. It's like, no, I want to know this because I want to know this. And you get the idea of, what do you do in dreams? Is it your idealized version of yourself, or is it a self-critical version of yourself, or is it yourself, or is it a projection of yourself is nicer to you, or do you recede into it? Like in the beginning, Wiggins is almost like a person watching other people interact, but later on you see much more of his personality. But is it his personality, or is it his dream personality? Is these interests what's going on in his head, or is it things he's heard other people talking about, he's now trying to interpret in a dream? Or, as they pointed towards the end, is he dying and these are his last few minutes of life going through his brain as he can't wake up because there's nowhere to wake up to? It could be a lot of these things, and it's like, well, what was your life, and what did it, or everything you learned, mean to you? Did it mean anything to you, or was it just this wandering sensation of ideas that really didn't amount to much? Or is this life that you're living of ideas, is that the best way you can survive this world? It doesn't seem to care about ideas, it doesn't seem to care about development of humanity in a healthy way. So just having small cultures of this and keeping it going till humanity is better, is that the best way to do it? And it's like, there's just lots of ideas of that. It's like the sense of, what's our reality and how do we affect our reality? And how does ideas of how we affect reality affect reality? And you've got all these kind of ideas that different philosophers talk about. If it's some philosophers talking about dreams, if it's some street level philosophers talking about life, you've just a variety of people talking about different elements that obviously Linklater finds interesting. So this could just be Linklater using style to voice all these ideas, but I do think that there's something more as you watch it and you get a sense of, this is a world that's trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense, because life ultimately doesn't make sense. You just try and put order on it, the way you would in a narrative, the way you would like a Linklater commercial film is the best way to put it. And what does that mean? What does the kind of commercial lockdown try and make sense of it mean compared to the kind of floating version of it? What's the interesting part about either of them, either option, and what does either of them get you to? So yeah, there's a lot of things in this film. It was good I could actually watch it on projector, so I could see it in a kind of bigger screen and get a sense of the atmosphere and the soundscape of it. So it just wasn't just a small TV or something. So that was good to actually see it, because I think it's meant to see in a big screen and watched all the way through. Almost the fact that you might zone out for a second or two is part of the experience. As you're trying to make sense of all of this and all these people talking, you're not going to get it all in one go. And watching the film again might give you a different perspective on what's going on. So yeah, this is a terrific film. I highly recommend it. I don't want to talk about any more. I'd rather just use this as a video to say, go watch the film. It's really interesting. Linklater also made Scanner Darkly Later using the same technology, which is an excellent adaptation of the Philip K. Dick novel, which is my favourite Philip K. Dick adaptation, actually. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you all later. Bye for now.